Normally in my videos, I like to find a topical news story and delve into all of the philosophical and political issues from as many perspectives as I can while at the same time giving my take. Another fun fact about me is that I haven't uploaded a video like that in over 2 years. And I'm sorry about that. After I made my first 4 videos, shit sort of hit the fan, so to speak, and I have been dealing with crisis after crisis, and thus I haven't had the time or energy to continue making videos. Well, I've finally gotten my life together and I'm in a stable place. And as a result, I'm in a constant state of panic because I don't know what to do with my life while I'm not in crisis. Weep for me. I really like the way some of my first videos came out, and I'd like to get back into that style. But in order to get back into the groove of uploading videos regularly, I thought I would start a new series on my channel that takes a little less time and energy. I think I'm going to call it The Hermit is a Dick. Or something like that, I'm not really sure. But basically, instead of a thoughtful analysis on a given topic, I'll blow my opinions all over the wall like I have a stuffy nose in the shower. So, I was lucky enough to come across such a story that might be good for this sort of a thing. So, without further ado, So for a little background on the subject, Supreme Court Justice Anthony Kennedy has announced his resignation, so he'll be resigning soon from the Supreme Court, giving Donald Trump the next pick of the next Supreme Court Justice, ostensibly. Not trying to get into anything too political here, but that has left a lot of people on the left very upset and a lot of people on the right very happy. Justice Anthony Kennedy was sort of the swing vote in the Supreme Court for a long time, because sometimes he'd side with the 4 more liberal judges who were pretty reliably liberal, and sometimes he'd side with the 4 other more conservative justices who were pretty reliably conservative. So he's considered sort of the swing vote, and in any 5-4 decision, typically he's the one that everyone's wondering which side he went with. And so one decision that may be overturned as a result of his resignation that most people are freaking out about is Roe versus Wade. Roe versus Wade was a Supreme Court decision from 1973 where they decided that because of the Fourth Amendment's right to privacy, the government has no right to tell you can't kill a child in your own body. Something along those lines. I'm not a Supreme Court justice, so maybe I'm not the best person to sort of give you the actual decision, but you can read them. They're public documents, obviously, so you can read sort of. A lot of the arguments made during that case had to do with viability, when a fetus can actually live in the real world without the mother and things like that, and sort of that's how it was decided. A lot of people are saying that because the swing vote sort of left and it's going to be replaced by a conservative, if another case that has to do with abortion rights comes to the Supreme Court, then it's going to be decided the other way, and they'll just say that the Constitution says nothing about abortion. It might people might actually read the Constitution and go, "Wow, Jesus, this Fourth Amendment really has nothing to do with abortion," or something like that. They might go make these crazy assumptions. So a lot of people on the left are upset because it sort of fit their narrative, and a lot of people on the right are glad because now it'll fit their narrative. As a result, there's a lot of wacky headlines, as you might imagine, in the news. A lot of people go crazy, especially when anything has to do with Trump. So I came across this story on Yahoo News, which, strangely enough, is still a website as of this recording. The headline is, "Women Encouraged to Go on Dating and Sex Strikes as a Protest Against Threat to Roe v. Wade." Which there's a lot to unpack there already. So it's going to be a good article. Thank you, Yahoo News. I'm glad that you're still around. So I guess what happened was a political journalist, Jennifer Wright, came up with this tweet. She works for what was it? She works for Harper's, I think. But she's very well known for her Twitter account. Maybe even more so than her political journalism outside of that, but she tweeted on July 2nd, Monday, We're very likely to lose Roe vs. Wade. Some men may think that doesn't concern them. Make it. If you're single and dating, add a female judge emoji to your dating profiles to show people you won't date or sleep with anyone who doesn't support a woman's right to choose. Hashtag Lysistrata 2018. Wow, what an interesting idea. As you might expect, this tweet apparently went viral. A news source said that. You never really know because the leftist tweets always go viral. But Fiona Erickson, again, I don't know all these people, but she said, "Wow, Lysistrata 2018 is an amazing hashtag. I stopped dating non-feminist years ago, but why not make it explicit? Pro-Roe or bust, y'all." All right. Here's another one. "I don't care about you having the right to have a safe abortion, then they don't care about you. I'm looking at you, 55% of women who voted for 45. I don't know if she knows this, but it's about 50-50 for women. 50% of women are pro-life and 50% of women are pro-choice, so it's really not a women's issue. It's a moral issue. But a lot of people are trying to frame it whatever way they want to. Of course, not everyone was on board with Wright's suggestion. She shared many complaints she'd received from men, one of whom called a ban on sex over abortion rights blackmail. Of course, her response was, "It sure does suck when people restrict your choices." So let's unpack this for a little bit. I don't think there are a lot of men that are saying that she shouldn't do this, she shouldn't be allowed to do this, or anything like that, or this is blackmail. I mean, I think for the most part, men, yeah, they might not want you to do that. They might think it's silly, but obviously nobody thinks that she doesn't have the right to. All these men don't think she has the right to. They have the right to just have sex with her whether she wants it or not. You know what I mean? Or women, as if there's a bunch of men out there who think that these women don't have any right to. These women don't have any right to refuse sex. Obviously, if there are really any men who think that explicitly, they're very, very few. But what's interesting was her comeback, because her comeback was, well, doesn't it suck to have your choices? What was it? She says, "Doesn't it suck when people restrict your choices?" Okay, so barring the fact that a lot of people see abortion as the murder of a child, so it's not really a choice to murder someone else, right? That's what a lot of people see it as. But even if we take for granted her position that it's a choice, of course it's her body, her choice. There's no other bodies involved here. That's just a clump of cells. Even if we take that for granted, what she's saying is that equates in some way to men's right to have sex with women. If they don't have the right to an abortion, then you don't have the right to fuck them. Yeah, I guess that's fair. But to equate that is to say that she, ostensibly, most pro-choice people believe that you have the sort of infinite, it's like a human right to have an abortion. It's not a human right to fuck any girl you want. It's a human right to have an abortion, though. So she's trying to equate two things that I don't think she should be trying to equate. I think it's a very bad comeback and sets a pretty unfortunate circumstance for her if she's going to say that. It sort of means like if somebody comes out and says, "Well, I'm pro-life," that means they have unlimited access to her pussy, and I don't think she wants to say that, because there's some predatory people out there. I will say though that I think this is going to be a successful campaign. Men, as a general rule, are horny as hell. That's their main motivation. This play Lysistrata or whatever it's pronounced, I don't know, but Aristophanes in 411 BC in classical Athens came out with this play where it's a comedy where these women try to end the Peloponnesian War by denying all warring men sex until they come to some sort of equitable agreement. It was popular at the time because it dealt with issues, but it was also sort of revolutionary. A lot of Aristophanes' things were, because she dealt with sort of complex gender relations in a male-dominated world. So it's a very interesting idea. It's obviously a comedy because, as a general rule, warring men are usually the ones that get laid. It's just the way that it is. Nothing wrong with it. It's. I think there's a little bit of nature in that analysis as well. I don't think that. I don't think that studies would go against that sort of a generality. But the reason that it was so good is because that's always been where women have the most power, sort of in the realm of sex, where men are very heavily driven by their desire for sex. All the extra testosterone that men have is sort of them driving towards trying to get laid. And for women to go, well, until you do this, I'm not going to sleep with you. No woman is going to sleep with you. It might actually help quite a bit. It might actually work. I'm not saying it's a bad plan. I'm just saying it's very silly. According to Yahoo News, it even apparently has worked at some point in the past. History shows, this is a Quartz article, history shows that sex strikes are a surprisingly effective strategy for political change. I don't think it's surprising, to be honest. I don't think it's surprising. Iroquois women refused to engage in sex as a way to stop unregulated warfare. The tactic worked. They gained veto power concerning all future wars and paved the way for future feminist rebellions. I think it's a brilliant idea. The irony I see in it, and the definition of irony is very fuzzy to me, but the irony I see in it is that it's self-defeating, because it makes everyone happy. So here's where I see the irony. If all pro-choice women stopped having sex with men, then they couldn't get pregnant. They can no longer get pregnant, and therefore, problem solved, because only pro-life women will be having sex, and they don't generally want abortions if they accidentally get pregnant. There it is, problem solved. I think that's sort of what conservatives have been asking for, is for people to either use proper contraception and then take responsibility for a pregnancy if it should happen, or B, abstain from sex. This isn't going to propel conservative types to change their mind on Roe versus Wade. It might make them pretend to get laid. Conservative men tend to want to take responsibility for an accidental pregnancy, as opposed to, I guess there are some pretty clear examples of that not being true too in the political world. But for the most part, on the face of it, this solves the problem. This is good for conservatives because it stops irresponsible women from having sex with them, and it helps liberals because they'll no longer need abortions if they stop having sex, and they just seem to be happy with not giving sex to people they politically disagree with, which, that's the world we're at now. Your politics defines every relationship of your life. Anyway, I hope all this made some sense, and it didn't just sound like rambling. My brain's a little bit mush. Ooh. My brain's a little bit mush, and it has been for a little while, so I'm hoping that I can get back into the swing of things, and maybe I'll start to do more of those. I'll do more. I'll try to get back into the weekly videos thing and see if I can get a following at some point. Who knows? I just found Jennifer Wright's Harper's Bazaar page, and I can see some of her news stories on here. Here are some of the headlines. Why you should say no to civility. Wow, she's clearly a smart gal. Geez, maybe I should do a video about civility. That seems to be in the news a lot. No to civility. Wow. The debate has gone from can you punch Nazis to must you serve Nazis a meringue pie with no objection. I don't think that that's where it's gone, because I totally object to punching Nazis. Obviously, I think that's for brain dead people who don't like to think. But must you serve Nazis a meringue pie with no objection? I don't think anyone's arguing that you must serve a Nazi a meringue pie with no objection. In fact, conservatives tend to be the ones who say, well, it's a private business, it can do what it wants, but of course you can object to it. But at the same time, Sarah Huckabee Sanders isn't a Nazi, so I don't know how. The thing is that they keep conflating. Oh my God, it makes me so angry sometimes. Melania Trump is not your friend. Okay, it looks like it's going to be sexist because it says, and we thought her 6-inch stilettos in Texas were the last straw. I don't know. I don't think I should read any of these. Why North Korea is hell for women. That one I think I can agree with. Well, that's all I have for you today. Please go ahead and give this video a like. And if you enjoyed this content and you take a look at my other videos, if you like this type of political commenting, then please subscribe to my channel. It'd be really nice. If you didn't like it, though, just hit that subscribe button, and that'll do. And I hope that you join me on my next video if I ever make one again. This is the Hermit signing out.